Hello everyone, I'm Brian and welcome back. Let's go ahead and continue.
We portray our India as a woman and call Mother India. Yet we see many rape cases, even in which we see a man raping his own mother, daughter, or a sister.
Whoa.
What drives a man with such madness of pleasure to do such an inhuman act? And what is the thing that drives him?
Whoa. We call generally things that are nurturing mother, or things like Mother Russia is another famous one. I don't know if they call it Father America. I don't think they call it Mother or Father America, but they call the government Uncle Sam. Generally speaking, anything that's nurturing we call mother. But anyways, outside of that, the only thing I can think of is something that's innate in all men, I believe. The desire. But I think there's something wrong with you if you go to those, what he's talking about. While yes, the grapes exist because of a desire as an instinct that we all have as men. Men have, I do personally, my opinion is that men have it in much greater spades, this desire over what women have. Women have it too, but men more so. It's what kind of drives, again, my opinion, what drives men to do things. You hear like kings and emperors and whatnot having many wives. Why is that? I hear a lot of things in the red pill community that, you know, if you put 99 women and one man, you can repopulate the earth, but if you put one woman and 99 men, well, we're doomed. So you kind of get the biological reasoning, and the reason why men have this desire is because we want to pursue that from women, and women, and generally speaking, wants comfort, protection, security, and all of those things, so we'll seek out the best male that can do that. And we'll then, and I guess you could say it's like an exchange, but it makes it sound transactional. It is in a lot of degrees, but at the same time, it doesn't necessarily have to be looked that way. It is, truthfully, biologically speaking, but that doesn't mean there's not more to it. Always people think of it, just look at the negative, because it's true, they say, no, that's not true. It is true. But there's more to it than just that. The extreme version, there's something wrong with them. Hopefully that is not something that's like rampant. And again, mind you, you know, this is something that happens everywhere. This is not something exclusive to any one country. It may happen more in some or others, but generally speaking, this is just human nature. Now, the mother-daughter sister thing, that's weird. It does happen still. Again, not just exclusive to any one country. I honestly, I don't know anything about that. All I know is that obviously men have desires. It's much stronger. I believe personally that it's much stronger than women. But in terms of the stuff, I don't know. I get the great part, because again, the desire, but towards say someone that you grew up with, I suppose. Cousins, maybe. I can kind of see that a bit because you generally don't grow up in the same household. There's a joke about that being Alabama, but you know, you look at the old England times where they marry within the family, and you see the very bad things that happen with that. Also marrying first cousins, while I hear maybe not as bad, but still bad, but maybe it takes a longer period for the negative stuff to take effect because you are still a deviation off. The only reason why I kind of know this is because I watched Matt Pat. He does movie theory or film theory, and did it with Game of Thrones, because if you know that movie, that stuff is going on in there too, and he talks about that, and he talks about what does it take to remove the side effects or the negative effects of inbreeding. Apparently, it's just as soon as you breed with someone else, it's gone. It's kind of crazy. I don't know if it's... Anyways, off topic, but yeah, I don't know about any of that stuff.
So there are many aspects to this. Instead of linking these brutal acts to Mother India, please As I said, we call it Mother Earth.
Nurturing.
Does it mean to say all crime on this planet will stop? No, there is crime, variety of crime. Sexual assault on women is very much there. There are many aspects to this. One thing is we can get angry and say, okay, hang them. Well, if you bring hanging as a thing for rape, you must understand in a rape case, the only witness is usually the victim. Yeah. Always, almost always. The only witness is the victim. If you guarantee a rapist that if you rape and if you get caught, you will hang for sure, what do you think he will do? He will eliminate that only witness. Yes or no? So, before we say something, we must be careful what we are saying. This does not mean we are supporting them, it just means, are you looking for a solution or are you looking for a kangaroo court? Hang everybody? No.
I'll say this though, like I don't think it necessarily goes to that extreme because you have to prove it. But I guess with modern medicine now where you can, because strange research that I know, I believe the men's seed will stay within the body for like 7 days or something like that. Or it'll stay there for a prolonged period of time, so there's a chance for, as long as a woman reports it soon enough, and if the facilities can, you know, somehow extract it, I don't know how, they can pull the DNA of the person. So I don't think it will necessarily result to, you know, that, but it very much could. Yeah, I was thinking of something else, but I can't remember it now.
Why is this happening? We must look at it. Why is it happening if you look at it? One thing is, India as a culture, this is the first generation that women are actually coming out on the street and walking with men and working with men and, you know, close proximity. People are not used to this. And millions of young people are moving from villages to cities. In their village, their idea of a woman was their mother who was like this, or their mausi who was like that, their atte or somebody at the party, it was like that. Now they come and see young girls walking on the street, it's very new for them. Let us not simply discount things and act like we are some kind of a dropped from somewhere. Human beings have sexuality in them. Between the ages of 15 and 25, it may be in maximum force, the hormonal influence.
Yeah.
Unless one is disciplined with a certain cultivation of intellect and other avenues of expression in their life, like sport, art, music, education, so many things are there to engage you. Nothing to engage you, just your hormones are bursting within you. From your village, you came to your city, suddenly you see young girls, the kind of people that you saw in the movies are walking on the street. The guy goes crazy. And above all, you've been encouraging alcohol everywhere. The moment 2 drops of alcohol fall into him, he goes absolutely crazy in the evenings. If he thinks nobody is watching, he will pounce on somebody. There is also a sociological issue in this. If he was in the village, his mother, his aunt, somebody will be talking, you know that girl, we're going to get you married to that girl. Whether he marries that girl or not, in his mind, there is a solution for his needs. He comes to the city alone, he just sleeps in one room, 10 boys are sleeping, working through the day and night, and rubbish atmosphere, okay? Inhuman atmosphere, it's like a concentration camp. Most of them are living in that kind of conditions. And there is no solution for him. For his hormones, for his life, for his body, for his emotion, for his life, there is no solution. There is not one person who is going there asking, okay, what are you going to do? Who are you going to marry? How are you going to settle your life? Is there any one human being looking at him?
Yeah, I mean, I will say this, it reminds me a bit of what happens in the United States as well with the, I believe it's the Amish people. When their kids become of age, I believe it's 18, they give them a lot of money and they send them out to the city, to outside life. If you don't know what Amish people are, you can Google it, but just in short, they live very, very primitive lives. I don't believe they use electricity at all. So it's everything not electricity. Everything's done in a community. When they want to build a house, they get all the men together. The men build the house. Women do women things, I guess, like sew clothes, prep the house, take care of the children, fix the food, while men till the fields, do all the manual labor stuff, a lot of the what requires a lot of strength. Jeez, I can't talk. The kids grew up in kind of that kind of environment, never really exposed to the outside, but I believe in their society, they realize that when the kids get older, they get curious. So they allow their kids, once they become of age, and I believe they give them money to go out into this place. But the problem with that is that you're sending them into the wild because they have no idea what that culture's like, what to do. This is something that I thought about when Sadhguru talks about his daughter. He doesn't teach her anything. It's kind of like, it made me think of the Amish people. I don't think I said it in that video, but where they just send a daughter out there into the wild, in a sense. But I would say probably the areas that he goes around are probably like great, fantastic people. In the United States, it's who knows? It depends on where you're at. You could have good people, but I've watched some videos of it, and some people adapted very well. They met with good friends and they helped them live in the city, tell them about, you can't trust everyone. And then there are some who hung out with bad friends and got abused and used, and now they come back. So they get, I think, 1 year, I believe, or I can't remember how long, but they get sent out, and then if they don't want to come back, they cannot come back to the community. I believe they are banished, I think. Fact check me. But they have an option to come back, and if they do come back, they can never leave, I believe. Again, it's been a little bit, but if I remember that correctly. I don't know what the percentage stays with the community, comes back with the community, and how many leaves. So, it reminds me a little bit of that. He's talking about kids going from villages into the big city. Big city is a different kind of jungle, you could say. And different kind of culture, different things to do, and so many more people, and so many more different stimulations from everything. It's a lot of learning to do.
No. In the evening with friends, if he drinks, the guy goes wild, all right? And of course, people are selling all kinds of wild pornographic videos. He sees those things and he thinks that's a thing to do. So, well, when somebody commits a crime, you have to punish them, that's another matter. I'm not going to get into that. But sociologically, what is the solution? Are you teaching them to become ascetics? Are you teaching them yoga, sadhana, so that they will become brahmacharis and walk free of these things? No, you have not taught them anything like that. Are you going to give them a solution? If he was in the village by 18, 19, he would be married to somebody. Now he has no hope, he's simply there and he will do wild things. This is the nature of a human being, we must understand.
Probably more for nature of man than women, but he's definitely not wrong on that one. I mean, yeah, you drop him in something that's very unfamiliar, and he doesn't have any kind of guiding counselor or guru or swami. And yes, very much culturally ingrained is a very, very big factor. This is something I talk about in the United States. There's many different cultures in here, even though it's all kind of like subcultures of America. And a lot of the cultures aren't necessarily that great either. And if there's a bad culture, they're just going to turn out bad. Now there's going to be a lucky few that get out of that culture and become something of themselves. But I heard of one person who actually went back to his old neighborhood, got robbed so many times that he left and decided that he didn't want to help. I mean, he wanted to go back and help out his neighborhood, but he got robbed so many times that he just decided not to go there anymore, not live there anymore.
So as a generation, as a culture, this situation that has changed, Just 50 years ago, almost every girl was married by the time she's 16, 17, a boy was married before he was 20. So before he was going out of control, his things were settled. Now there is no settlement for his life. So just being puritanical is not going to work. We must at least be willing to debate what are we going to do with our youth. Youth means there are many aspects. One aspect is there's an influence of hormones in them. Are you going to address it? Or are you going to just close your eyes and say, no, nothing like that, just hang a few people, everything will be okay? It is not going to be okay.
And this is another thing that I debate one of my friends about, where my friend just keeps talking about like laws and laws and laws. I'm, dude, man, you can't just keep government, you can't just keep, you cannot allow the government gain so much power. You keep thinking of solutions in terms of laws, but not solutions in terms of culture or the people. You know, that's where the root of the problem is. All these laws are just band-aids to the problem until you fix the root of the problem. You know, it's not gonna, we're gonna continue to have more and more laws. The government's gonna grow and grow in power just because eventually now they're gonna just say curfew at 9 o'clock, everyone inside or you're going to jail. Just to keep everyone safe. The only people allowed to be outside are cops now. Everyone has to be in bed sleeping by 9 p.m. because, you know, we don't know how to fix the people, we don't know how to fix the culture, we just know how to add laws and laws and laws. Eventually, of course, hopefully people will get tired of that and they'll rebel against the government, but Jesus, you know, we don't have to get that far. Hopefully I didn't talk too fast there, but I'm sorry if I did. Let me know. If I am talking too fast, let me know. I do need to slow it down because I know probably a lot of people, English is not the first language. Plus, I'm sure I'm speaking certain words that may not be familiar, so I do apologize. I will try to slow down a little bit.
So we must address it. A time has come, we must address it. Rather than linking this to Bharat Mata, please.
Sadhguru, I am a native of Kerala. So recently, Kerala has witnessed humongous…
Do you know how to swim?
Not really.
Oh. What did you do in the flood?
I was here, no.
Oh.
So, in Kerala we had floods 2 to 3 weeks ago, and I always had my mother calling me up and telling about all her suffrage, that she's going through this, she's going through that. After hearing to all that, I obviously I'm disturbed because you are safe here and you see your parents and your loved ones in there. And I had a thought, if had I been ignorant to this fact that my state is entirely drowned in water, I would have been happy if I have not known that this fact. So if ignorance is a bliss, then why do people seek knowledge?
Ooh. Well, this is an interesting one. I honestly can't wait to hear Sadhguru answer this one. But what would be my answer if I was asked this question? Well, ignorance is bliss, but you do realize that ignorant people get taken advantage of, right? They get used and abused because they're too ignorant to know otherwise. But if you remain bliss, you know what? I guess it's a win-win. So I don't know how much of a right or wrong answer I just gave, but it sounds wrong and right at the same time. Because one, if you're ignorant and blissful, then there's nothing wrong with that. But then you're being used. But if you're in bliss, that's really a confusing answer. I don't think it's a good one. I will say this: do not be used, do not be played. So don't remain in ignorance for too long. Ignorance may be bliss, but you don't have to have knowledge. Have knowledge be something that is a, how do I say, suffering. Knowledge doesn't have to be suffering. And with that in mind, knowing your true self hopefully will end suffering.
Ignorance is bliss like this. You can do one thing. What is the tallest building in Coimbatore city? How many floors I'm asking? 10 floors, maybe that's it? There's no very tall building, right? Okay, you can come to Vellangiri Malai. Go up there and there's a cliff, you jump off. It's so wonderful. Till you hit the ground. Ignorance is like that. If you jump off, you've never done skydiving. If you jump off an airplane, it's so fantastic, really. Only thing is, if you look down, the damn planet is coming at you at great speed, that's the only problem. Otherwise, falling is very nice.
Yeah, there's a saying that it's not the fall or the speed that kills you, it's the sudden stop. That was a good one. I remember that being said, yeah, falling and going really fast is not a problem, it's just a sudden stop.
Till you hit the ground. Ignorance is like that. It'll catch up with you.
Oh, yeah.
It'll catch up with you. Suppose it happened when you went for a vacation. It would have caught up with you, isn't it? And what guarantee that it won't come here? There's no guarantee. It can happen anywhere. So, ignorance is not a solution, nor is it a bliss. Ignorance protects you from suffering a few things, but suffering will accumulate and come to you in large scale at some point.
Can you?
Right now, this flood itself is ignorance is bliss only. Because people thought if you don't know anything, everything will be okay. No, you will drown. Now the flood is happening for a variety of reasons. These sort of rains that you saw this year, I don't know, meteorological department is saying what? How many years ago was this kind of rain? 24. That's what, I think it's around 24 years ago. When I was out on the streets riding and doing things, if it rained, every street, every highway would be fully drowned. I would be one of the few who's still driving or riding, everything else would have stopped. We have not seen that kind of rains, particularly in this area, in the last 8 to 9 years. This is the first time I'm seeing, after about 9 years, full-fledged monsoon. This is how monsoon should be, you understand? There is no such thing as bad rains, they're all good rains. Only in England, rain is bad. Only they sang, rain, rain, go away, okay? In India, in a tropical country, rain is always good. Are we prepared to handle the rain or not? How can we prepare to handle the rain? Can we catch it in a bucket? No.
Real quick, I guess, he is right. Like, if you live in a tropical area where it rains all the time, if it all of a sudden just stops raining, that's a problem because it's supposed to rain. That's an interesting way to look at that, or be knowledgeable of that. I'm wondering if there's people out there saying, "Oh my gosh, it's starting to rain a lot. Oh, this flood, not a good thing." It's like, no, maybe the flood is a bad thing, but the rain is. If it's supposed to be raining, supposed to be the monsoon season, then now the amount of rain can be questionable, but it's supposed to rain.
When we live in a monsoon country, when we live in a tropical country, it is a simple thing that we must have a certain level of vegetation to hold the water. In Tamil there is some saying, I cannot repeat it verbatim, something like, only if Kaveri comes walking, she is fortune. If she comes running, she is a disaster. Why will a river run, tell me? How to make a river walk, not run?
Yeah, maybe there's too much water coming down, heavy rains up top, that's why it's running as opposed to just flowing, maybe?
There must be vegetation. If there is substantial vegetation, the catchment areas, when they get it, it will hold and slowly it'll come down to the river. Now there's no vegetation, it's coming straight in. Similar situation happened in Coorg also now. In the last 30 years' time, they've removed 65% of the vegetation in Coorg, which is the catchment area for Kaveri. Now, as a part of this, in collaboration with Karnataka government, we are planting 25 crore trees in the catchment areas of Kaveri. Now, we are fighting for Kaveri between Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, but the problem is this, that vegetation in the catchment areas have been removed, 65% in the last 30 years. At one time, I floated down Kaveri, 163 kilometers over 13 days on just about 6 or 7 bamboos and 4 truck tubes. I just floated down, lived off the river. At that time, how I saw Kaveri, today it is only approximately 40% of it. No wonder you will fight for water. But now when the flood comes, who can hold it? Nobody can hold it. because nadandu vandada Kaveri valam. She must come walking. So, ignorance is bliss means it'll get you one day. It took some time, it took 24 years, but it got you. The same is true with Kerala. In the Ganga banks, in the Ganga basin accounts for 25% of the nation's geography and 33% of India's agriculture. In the last 70 years, we removed 94% of vegetation in the Ganga basin. What is our plan? Ignorance is bliss, is it? Yes, it is. Bliss will get us
in trouble.
Our ignorance may somehow make us escape, but it'll get our children. They will not get away. Next generation will get it. Is that what you want to do? Huh? Yes. Ignorance bliss?
Don't know.
Did you say don't know or no?
It once happened. Shankaran Pillai fell off from the third floor and he screamed. People gathered around him and asked, "Did the fall hurt you?" He said, "You idiots, it's not the fall, it's the stopping."
Oh.
So fall never hurts. When you stop, it hurts and it will stop somewhere.
He said it right there, yeah.
Sadhguru, ஒருத்தர் மேல நம்ம அதிகமா அன்பு வைக்கும்போது
Oh, no.
அவங்க வந்து மத்தவங்களுக்கு இம்பார்ட்டன்ஸோ இல்ல அதிகமா அன்பு செலுத்தினாலோ அது ஏன் நம்மள அஃபெக்ட் பண்ணுது?
I don't know what he said.
I'm just seeing which girl is he talking about. ஒன்று அன்புன்றது ஒன்று இருக்குது, தேவைன்றது இன்னொன்று இருக்குது. தேவைன்றது பல நிலையில் இருக்குது. உடல் நிலையில் தேவை இருக்குது, மனநிலையில் தேவை இருக்குது, உணர்வு நிலையில் தேவை இருக்குது, சமூக நிலையில் தேவை இருக்குது, பொருளாதாரத்து தேவை இருக்குது. இந்த மாதிரி பலவிதமான தேவைகள் இருக்குது. நமக்கு இருக்கிற தேவை போய் நாம் அன்புன்னு தப்பாக நினச்சிக்க வேண்டாம். தேவை இருக்குது, நமக்கு ஏதோ ஒன்று தேவை இருக்குது, அது நமக்கு கிடைக்காம இன்னொருத்தருக்கு கிடைச்சா கொஞ்சம் வயிற்றுல ஏறிது. ஆனால் நீங்கள் ரொம்ப சந்தோஷப்படணும். இந்த வயசுல சிக்கிக்காம வேற யாரோ சிக்கிட்டாங்க, நீங்கள் சந்தோஷப்படணும். விஜய் என்ன வெற்றி தானே? இப்போ என்ன நடந்தாலும் வெற்றி தான், அப்படி இருக்கணும்.
I wonder if he can understand English, the person with the black shirt.
Sir,
I
in
hope so.
reference with Indian mythology and considering the past we had a chance to identify between good and bad. Like, good can be named as a god and evil can be named as a demon.
Who told you
But
this?
in the present era, if we see, human is incorporated with both good and bad. How can we identify the inner demons, find and fight them to let the good prevail?
Oh, wow. This is something that's, I think even if I were to try to answer, it's kind of difficult. Obviously, are we innately know what good and bad is? The thing that I go to, I guess, is the golden rule, which is to do unto others what you want done to yourself. So obviously, if you excuse me, if you don't harm done to yourself, then obviously don't harm other people. We kind of have this understanding of the definition of what's kind, good, and what bad is, culturally speaking. You know, harming people, lying to people, using people, you know, just doing bad things is bad. Like doing good things is good. Bad, bad, good, good. Easy. But what is good and what is bad? I guess it's mostly defined by culture. Also the golden rule. This is honestly something that I don't think I could... That's my best answer, honestly. Culturally speaking, golden rule, what you think is right, and if people think it's good. Now, mind you, individual people, so what you do to someone may not be good for someone else. So this is how you learn what you can and cannot do with certain people. So just because you do it on one person doesn't mean you can do it to everyone. But outside of those, I really don't know if there's just no real like, this is good. Making people happy is good. Making people sad is bad. Golden rule and those things.
See, the distance of time will blur many things. Human beings always struggled. You're talking about mythology. If you look at the whole Mahabharata, for example, the whole thing is struggle within human beings, what to do and what not to do, what is the right thing to do, what's the wrong thing to do, they're always consulting. Yes or no? Debating and consulting. So it's not that in those days they were clear-headed and today you're muddled up. It's not true. Then also they were muddled. But the distance of time, only certain facts are written, all their struggles are not written, but your struggles are real and here. But after 100 years, people will look at you and say, but Charan, such a clear-headed, wonderful man, because your dead man's pose is there, one photograph is all they have. They look at you and you think, oh, see how peaceful and wonderful he is, he had no struggles. That is because of distance of time. So, this problem with good and evil, see, if you really want to look at it very sincerely, what is good and what is bad? I am good, you're bad. This is the case with everybody. What I am doing is good, what you're doing must be not okay. So don't go by good and bad. The actions that we're performing right now, is it appropriate to the situation in which we exist? Does it benefit you and everybody around you? This is all the question is. Because nobody can decide what is good and bad. Those who are doing terrible things also think they're doing very good things. Those who are doing most horrendous things, they believe 100% they're doing God's work. Yes or no? Is it true or no in the world? So do not go by good and bad because anybody can think they are good. Please every day measure what you speak, what you do, whatever actions you initiate, is it leading to maximum well-being for people around you and yourself too? This is all. Because what is good in one time, at a certain time in history, may be totally wrong at another time. You heard of Virappan? Hello? Virappan? Heard of Virappan? See, Virappan, it is said, killed over 500 elephants. So he was shot dead as a criminal. That took a long time though. But in Tamil culture, a real hero, a true man means Ayira aane konnavane. A man who's slain 1,000 elephants, he is the real hero. Virappan got halfway. But he's a criminal because wrong timing. If he had come 1,000 years ago with a Magnum 400 rifle, people would have worshipped him because there were too many elephants all over the place. But today, he is a criminal. So, what is good and bad, don't go about deciding because people who believe they are very good, they are the people who do most terrible things. You don't have to be good, you just have to be human. That's all is needed from you. Be a living human being, sensitive human being to every other life around you, that's all. You don't have to be a good human being. Good human beings are terrible people. Yes. Humanity is more important than your goodness, isn't it?
So to get with that real quick, he said the wellness of humans let me see if I can find out real quick. So the video's over with now. Let me just go back and find out one that he said. It's right before this.
Most horrendous things, they believe 100% they're doing God's work. Yes or no? Is it true or no in the world? So do not go by good and bad, because anybody can think they are good. Please every day measure what you speak, what you do, whatever actions you initiate. Is it leading…
Okay, here it is. Is it leading to the maximum well-being of the people around you and yourself? So the problem I have with this wording is the fact that where he talks about the people who could be doing the most horrendous things are thinking that they are doing the well-being for people around them too. That's the reason with my problem with the definition of the word. That what is well-being? Good well-being's all kind of the same. And then there's the problem also with even with the golden rules, like, you know, someone who has this righteous thou art attitude could say, yes, if I was acting the way you are, I would want you to treat me this way. You know, there's always going to be that problem. We get the idea of what Sadhguru is talking about. We want to make sure that we elevate each other and not bring anyone down. We don't want to cause harm to each other. We don't want to hurt each other. We want to make sure that we are, I don't want to say like living in bliss, but like, you know, I don't know what to say. Making each other happy, I suppose. But yeah, the problem, even with the golden rule, well-being, good, is all that can be looked at the same way from a very righteous person who believes that, you know, sinners should be whipped or lashed, and that if they themselves are a sinner, then they should be whipped and lashed too. So how can you say, well, crap, you know, if he believes in that, then obviously he's going to do that to other people because he expects the same from other people if he's doing it as well. So the issue with defining that, to use a single word, good, bad, well, you know, whatever it may be, golden rule, is too, I guess the description's a little too limiting. But again, these crazy kind of people are very rare, but they do exist in the world. But the most of the sane people, or most of the people in the world which are sane, will understand what Sadhguru is talking about, will understand when we say about the golden rule, and obviously would want the same thing for them as they want for, or will basically follow the golden rule, where they give out good vibes, good whatever, and they want that in return as well. That way we live happily, peaceful, and in bliss, hopefully. So anyways, that's part 2 of this. If you like my content, please consider subscribing, thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.